I'll be reading poems to you that were written mostly here at this 100-year-old cabin on a small plot in the woods by Fork Lake in the Highland District of Victoria, also the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples. And I want to acknowledge also the land, the trees, and the water that gives so much to us. This poem in praise of mushrooms comes from my book, Good Holding Ground. In praise of mushrooms. My boot almost crushes domed towers dew-beaded, sprung in the night through loamy ground. Knobbed umber caps on vellum stalks, frilled gills underneath to breathe in the deep. Mushrooms surprising sprouted, bright white buttons on blackened logs, or ruffles from ruin where tub and tile meet. Precious fungus, shiitake, chanterelle, oyster, portobello, and truffles. Sponge-tongued taste of earth. Spores float like words, take hold in the cold, and wait to bloom in the dark. Tree Huggers Pitch. I've joined the Ancient Forest Alliance. Could not bear to let the youth, limbs quaking in the cold on my wooden porch, leave unrewarded. Young and sapped by sadness, I jogged a university forest one afternoon. Did the red cedar call to me, or did I know to press trunk to trunk? How some lit force flared upwards from crotch to crown, and my arms squeezed tighter, elated. A tree hugger, yes, for good reason, cell-to-cell spiration. Quiet spun down, winged maple keys. I clung, let vessels speak and soothe, seed and bloom. This life, a thank you note to trees. Each year the canvassers come to ask that I might spruce up my regular donations for old growth. Satisfied, they stump down the stairs and stride down the block, leafleting. My ancient heart splinters for their optimism, my love and money reaching out in the night to root them to it. I'm part of a stewardship group out here that started about 25 years ago called the Friends of Fork Lake, and I've learned a lot from them about the conundrums and contradictions and difficulties of stewardship. We share a front yard here on this lake, and sometimes we have to be guardians, which means we just watch what's happening and just watch the changes, and sometimes we have to be gardeners, which means we get out there and do something. And it's very difficult to figure out when to be which, because this is an sort of imperfectly understood system, nature, for us. So we work that out together as best we can. The lily pullers. Canoes congregate at the head of the lake where Nymphaea odorata spills from Mountwork Park, chokes swimming, clogs drinking water, and shrinks the lake. So we garden. From a boat, a cutter is dropped deep to the roots, then land-footed neighbors pull and drag it along the bottom, leaving mats of thin red stalks, broken veins, for paddlers to rake and haul into their boats till gunnels barely skim the waterline, and we dump the piles on shore. My peach-painted toes squelch in mud. I lug huge green and purple leaves, my hands slimed by their gelatinous undersides. Something translucent, beetle-shaped, clings beside a cluster of eggs. Freshwater shrimp, rosy red minnow. I fling the creature back to the lake, leave its jellied babies, their centers dark in gluey sacks, to die in the sun. Old Gregory. Beaver chew the lake's alder, and blue-green algae scums the shore. The lake drops more each summer, floods higher some winters. Parched trees, drowned docks, always this battle. Locals talk about Old Gregory, first settler, digging a trench, lowering the water level for his sheep. Such hubris, we now think. Steward, from Old English, ward of the house, the hall, always changing the locks, calling for repairs, we jangle the keys to the larder. Should we construct a weir on the trench, control lake levels the way Old Gregory did, or leave well enough alone? The Friends of Fork Lake have bought the beavers a special pipe so they can build but not block. We're willing to sacrifice some alder to the national rodent, not all. Evening sun blankets the docks, and in the hush, flutter and click of ducks stripping aphids from aquatic grass. A mink head wrinkles the lake's surface black and gold, torpedoes toward a webbed foot. Animals and their fine-tuned destruction. So I found an old book out at the cabin, The Life of the Spider. It was my mother-in-law's book, and it was published in the 50s, so I started reading it, and it sparked this poem. Along came a spider. This morning on the dock, a tiny spider weaves between slats of a cedar chair. I'm trapped by ordinary fear. Years ago, someone dumped a car, a hunk of rusted metal, gas, and oil in the middle of this lake. Arania diadema. Were she human-sized, her cartwheel web would need 400 yards of silk to grasp such magnitude. July sun unsticks itself from treetops. Dragonflies zip lines of blue and black. Fishhawk plunges, dazzles. 6 spinnerets, teats with 600 taps, pour 5 different silks, and then add glue from 2 more special spouts. Praise learning about spiders and other fearful things. Praise the calm it brings. She holds a string of silk aloft with one hind leg, exudes oil to unstick her foot, then plucks on the glue-limed line. The car, never pulled from the lake, has rotted away. The guns that once shot hawks silenced. The spider ties, glues, twangs the gummed line, so each drop of glue separates into equidistant beads. Oh, to be more careful, web torn from its moorings as I drag the chair. But the spider comes scurrying, shoots a repairing thread from her upthrust belly to take hold where the wind will land it. This poem features a persona who experiences the water both from the point of view of a scientist and a swimmer. Water quality. She bends to the service of water, lowers a metal Secchi disc until its white disappears, notes the depth, again and again reading turbidity. April, and she wears a short wetsuit, belly and chest warmed. She ducks her head, thrill of cold zippers her spine. Feeder Creek and spring-fed this lake, gouged by glaciers, 18 homes, no space for more now people its patient shore. Water gloves her body in late June. Satin, yes, viscous, albumin, vernix, newborn slick. Tests wash light on columns of lake, measure algae haze, weed. Secchi disc dipped below the surface spins from glass to gray to gone. Speechless water, speaking. Sweet water, not leaf, not stone, but soft rain, soft, something to husband. The samples say this water's pretty good. Phosphorus, chlorophyll at acceptable levels, nitrogen from duckweed fern and long-stemmed water thyme, a titch up. July dusk, and spent mayflies fleck the top inch. Breaststroke is parting curtains of shredded lace. Suckled on lead of city taps, some friends won't swim. They balk at bugs, at trout, and bottom mud. Fly corpses sink, swallowed by cutthroats, dive deep to spring source, sluice. Some prefer a pool in blue tile where chlorine nibbles layers of protein from the skin. Late August night, naked, full-mooned, her body swims inside a blood-warm caress, mammalian hug, rolling in mink. This place she's lived 40 years. She is water strider, light prince, a whisper of strokes. Fall, and the shy garter pops its periscopic head, rare glide along a velvet floss of lake.